All right, evolution. This is Miss Callahan going over this really quick. Let's start out with the history of evolution. So, history of evolution started out with Charles Darwin. He had a theory of natural selection. He traveled to the Galapagos Islands on the HMS Beagle, and he looked at different things, but he's well known for his finches and their beaks because they had different beaks because they ate different things. He believed in adaptations, so things adapted to their environment over time. And adaptations can be anything from physical traits to behavioral traits. Lamarck also was at the same time, but he believed things used or disused things. So if you didn't use it, you just lost it. Or if you used it, like for example, giraffes, if they reached out far enough, they would stretch out their neck. It was Lamarck's idea, but of course we know that's wrong. The Earth was 4.6 billion. It is 4.6 billion years old, and remember that the Earth would not have had oxygen at the beginning, so you would have started out with these prokaryotic anaerobic cells, and then later on you would have got your single or unicellular eukaryotic cells eventually, and then multicellular. We also talked about stabilizing, directional, and disruption selection. You can look that in your notes and remember that you had to draw these in. And then we talked about convergent evolution. So remember, if I converge, that means I'm going together. Divergent, I'm diverging away. So convergent is when two separate species that have different ancestors come together with similar traits like dolphins and fish. Divergent evolution is when two species come different over time. So they have the same ancestor, but they, just need different adaptations for the environment they are in. Divergent evolution can be due to geographic isolation and stuff like that. So they just, they get isolated away from each other. We talked about different lines of defenses. The first line of defense in your body is skin and mucus. The second line would be your white blood cells and fever. And then the third line would be your B cells and T cells, or your lymphocytes is what we call them. There's active immunity, which is from vaccines and stuff like that, and then passive immunity, which you got from like your mother's milk. Okay. Evidence for evolution would be biochemical or molecular evidence, which is like DNA. In other words, we got segments of DNA that are similar to our relatives, like the ape. We also have structural evidence. So, for example, here, human arm, cat, whale, and bat wing, they all have 5 flagellums. Even though some of these, they're really short on the sides, you can't hardly see them, but they are there. This is homologous structures. In other words, they came from the same tissue. Homo, like I said, means the same. Vestigial structures would be like the kiwi bird, who does not use their wings anymore. Vestigial means it is not used anymore. They have little nubs. They don't have wings anymore. They have little nubs up under their feathers, and that would be an example of vestigial structures. Also, your appendix is a vestigial structure, so we don't use that anymore as well, and your wisdom teeth and stuff like that. We talked about biodiversity. Bio meaning living, diversity, of course, meaning differences. It's really good to have biodiversity and different types of species of organisms. Then we went over Linus classification system, which started out with kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Y'all came up with a good way of remembering these. I think it was like kissing people, calls. I can't remember exactly how y'all did this, but come up with your own. Make sure you just remember it. Don't forget that domain is up here above kingdom, okay? So there's 3 different domains: archaea, bacteria, and eukarya. And guess what? We're in eukarya. Bacteria, our true bacteria are in bacteria. And then archaea is your extreme, they are extreme bacteria. They live in extreme locations, like down deep in the ocean, in the hot vents, those type of places. Don't forget that eukarya, we have a nucleus and membrane organelles, and prokaryotes do not. They do not have a nucleus or organelles. All cells, though, have genetic material, cytoplasm, and a cell membrane. Don't forget that. here is your lovely, I'm trying to look and see. Okay. Here is your lovely cladogram that we went over. And remember, a cladogram gives you a trait, and then everything above it has that trait. So everything above this is vertebrate. I know you can't see it, but everything above this, you know, is a vertebrate. Everything above this has a jaw. So this hagfish right here doesn't have a jaw. But that's a cladogram. Then we actually did dichotomous key. And remember, dichotomous keys help us identify an organism's actual name, scientific name. In scientific name, remember that you capitalize the first letter and lowercase the other one, and then they are both italicized. Don't forget that as well. All right, guys, that's it.